Alright, what's going on YouTube? We are back with another Baldur's Gate 3 mods video. This time we're going to be taking a look at the final Dawnstar, I guess, trilogy of spells that I've showcased so far. This is going to be the Telekinetic spells. I did a little bit of a showcase on this from the last video that I did with the Red Witch, as there is a patch that's compatible to combine these spells with that class. So we're just going to go over the 6 level spells that you get. So I'm not going to be going through the level up process because I kind of feel like it's not necessary. So you'll get 3 new cantrips and 12 new spells that can be used by the Bard, Druid, Warlock, Sorcerer, Cleric, Eldritch Knight, and Wizard, and any of the subclasses that typically use those guest-based classes. So anyway, the cantrips that you get, starting off at the top, is going to be Telekinetic Shell. This covers yourself in a sphere of telekinesis, gaining resistance to physical and force damage. When a melee attacker hits you, the shield explodes, dealing 3 to 36 force damage and knocks them back. This lasts for 10 turns and is a concentration spell. The second cantrip that you get is called Telekinetic Hurl. Telekinetically throw a small to medium object. If the object is heavier than a target, it takes an extra 3 to 12 bludgeoning damage. Now, there actually has to be an item that's nearby, so I would suggest carrying, like, I would say, like a barrel or a chest or something, so you can actually throw that out and use that, because it doesn't automatically toss an item. You have to find an item and toss it. This can be circumvented with later spells, but just as the cantrip itself, you want to have something that you have on you and able to throw something to use it for damage. And then the last cantrip that you get is called Force Manipulation. This allows you to push and pull a target for up to 6 meters. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The level 1 spells that you get is going to be Stone Snap. Rip boulders from the ground and hurl them into a single target, possibly becoming mained. Now, what does main do? I believe this does bleeding over time, if I remember correctly. No, actually. Movement speed is reduced to 0. It has a disadvantage on dexterity saving throws, removed by healing. Okay, so that's my mistake there. So that's the level 1 spell that you get. The second one's going to be Rock Barrage. Tear a small boulder from the ground and split into 3 stones, launching them at your target. Each stone deals 1 to 6 bludgeoning damage and applies daze on hit. Level 2. Level 2, you get Seismic Eruption. Pull a pillar of earth out of the ground, leave it behind a throwable boulder. So this is where I was talking about a little bit earlier, where you can use this spell, and then you can use that with the Telekinetic Hurl, so that way you'll always have a boulder nearby. Now, you can't actually pick up the boulder and put it in inventory, but you can use this first, and then use this later on to throw that same boulder, so that way you're not always having to use Seismic Eruption. The second level 2 spell that you get, is called Battering Ram. Release a powerful telekinetic wave, forcing creatures back 6 meters and knocking them off balance. Scatter Shot. Pull a boulder from the ground and form into spikes that fly out in front of you. Creatures in the path suffer Gaping Wounds. Gaping Wounds is basically bleeding over time for 3 turns. Implosion Spear. Launch a sphere, however you want to pronounce it, Implosion Sphere. Launch a sphere of compressed force that can seek out a target and implodes on impact, displacing creatures and leaves them prone. The level 4 spells, you get Debris Storm. Surround yourself with a telekinetic storm of rocks around a telekinetic stone that throws around rocks and boulders. Nearby enemies take 1 to 4 force damage and 3 to 12 bludgeoning damage per turn, and also their movement speed is halved. You can also fly while the spell is active, so you actually get a fly spell, or if you have fly, you can use that and fly around with that telekinetic storm, or I guess the debris storm around you. It's actually one of my favorite looking spells out of the pack. Force Field. Create a sphere of telekinetic energy that encloses a 3-meter radius. You and allies become resistant to physical and force damage. Each round, the force field releases a shockwave, dealing 2 to 12 force damage and pushes enemies out by 3 meters. This is also a concentration spell. So a lot of concentration spells, so I would say if you actually do use these, Warcaster would be something I would pick up. Level 5, you get Telekinetic Tethers. Attach your telekinesis to nearby allies, granting them and yourself flight. Plus 3 AC and plus 3 to all saving throws. Another concentration spell. And then the second is Cocoon. Suspend yourself or an ally into the air, encase them in a telekinetic cocoon. While the target is invulnerable and receives maximum healing from all sources, but cannot move, act, or take reaction. So if someone is close to dying and you want to try and save them, you can throw on Cocoon and start healing them without worrying about them taking damage. And then level 6, we get Focus Beam. Bind a creature with the beam of concentrated force. You are also locked in place as you focus your target. It takes 8 to 48 force damage each turn, and incoming attacks have advantage. The creature can make a strength saving throw on its turn to end the effect. So this is actually very strong, but also leaves you very vulnerable because you can't move, but you're also dealing damage every time on your turn. So if you see a target that has a low strength saving, I would throw that out there, do massive damage each turn. And then the final spell that you get is Telekinetic Maelstrom. You unleash a will of storm of pure force, your body locked in place as your mind tears apart reality. Those who fail to save are solely bound, crushed, and disintegrated. Does 6 to 36 force damage, level 6 spell, concentration. Probably not the strongest, even though it is level 6, but it does do a good amount of damage. So those are going to be the spells that you get. I'll quickly try and showcase these, even though it's going to be a little bit harder. It'll be a little bit harder to showcase it here, but we'll try and do a combat scenario. I know the last video's combat scenario was longer than anticipated, so I'm going to try and make sure it's a little bit smaller, but a lot of these are just pretty standard. So Telekinetic Curl. What we can do is try to use, where's Seismic Eruption? So Seismic Eruption, this is where it rips a boulder out of the ground. And then throw a boulder. And then from here, you can use Telekinetic Curl. And that will also stay on the field. It does have a health bar, so we'll take some damage each time you throw it, but you also pick up items on the field if you can find them.
And away I go.
So there's that. And then force manipulation, you can pull or push a target. And then Stone Snap. As you can see, do boulders around the target. Pretty strong. Sorry, Shell of Heart, you're going to be today's test dummy. Telekinetic Shell. And then...
Whatever comes, I'm ready. Time to meet your maker.
You could actually hit. There's that.
Still alive, so that's progress. Time to get going.
We already showcased that to be Rock Barrage, or no, we haven't just yet. This is Rock Barrage.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yes, I did.
Just a brief respite.
And then we already did Seismic Eruption. That's where we pulled the boulder out the ground. And then Battering Ram. Pretty self-explanatory. And then Implosion Sphere. Very strong. Knocks the target prone. And then we have Force Field. Concentration spell for the Force Field. And then every turn, you can see it forces out damage. Now, it won't affect allies, but it will affect enemies. And the enemies inside the Force Field also get the buff for the Force Field. But if they step out, they lose that buff.
Have a lot on my mind.
Then we have Cocoon, which will break the Force Field, but that's fine. As you can see, Shadow Heart's in the Cocoon now. She'll be in that for 10 turns, but she can't move or do anything. But she also can't take damage. So if we try and... You can see, fully invulnerable, so really can't do anything to her. Sometimes now the effects will go into effect, but they won't take damage. Then you have Telekinetic Tethers. This will break the Cocoon, which is fine.
Very well.
Now with Telekinetic Tethers,
A long way to go.
as you see, now we have the option to fly. And the tethers actually do last quite a while, and you can fly pretty far away from the target. So it's not like you have to be like right nearby to use it.
Still breathing, despite everything.
But still pretty strong. I actually find this one of the better abilities here. It also gives you plus AC and saving throws. We have Scatter Shot. And then we have Focus Beam, which is going to be a little bit harder to showcase because the target needs to be an enemy, so we'll actually have to do like the combat scenario for that, just kind of showcase it. But then Telekinetic Maelstrom. Now, I don't think there's going to be a lot of enemies. I don't think these are classified as enemies for Telekinetic Maelstrom.
Let me guess, you need something.
Now, let's see if this actually works. Channel the storm of prekinetic energies characters capacity when maintaining the enemies caught within the storm are gradually bound, crushed, and disintegrated if they fail to escape. Now, I don't know if Jaheira is going to count as an enemy. It does take about 10 turns. So, I would say if you have a strong enemy like held by Hold Monster or Hold Person, you can cast this. However, it is a concentration spell. This can be knocked out of. But it's probably one of the more powerful spells that can be used in like a group of enemies. So we'll see if this actually works. Okay, so it didn't work because Jaheira doesn't classify as the enemy, but at least you see the effect of it. We'll try and cast that in the combat scenario here. But more or less, that is what these spells look like. So if you're only interested in seeing the spells, with the exception of Focus Beam, which we'll try and do in a combat scenario here, that'll be the end of the video. But always, if you want to watch a combat scenario, that'll happen right after this. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to try and have videos out like this every day, at least for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
On my way.
Fresh orders? I will not fail.
And I thought we were going to be friends. What must be done?
No choice but to keep going.
Got to press on.
On your command. Lila Lur.
No better moment. Nature will not even notice you are gone.
Blood comes easy these days. On my way. carry me.
Ready for battle.
War is an old woman's game.
Need to find a way forward.
Let me strike.
Not but another harvest.
Well, so much for peace. These boots have seen everything.
My victims await. Taking up position.
Come on, can't stay idle.
Fresh orders? I am your death.
for the fallen.
What now? Light on my feet.
Your choice, not mine.
I won't give in.
Your command. Yes. You will break.
The straight path.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Yes.
On the hunt.
I can't even catch my breath.
Fresh orders?